Okay, today is January 7, 2014. Let's review some of the stock that been mentioning throughout the last couple of days. The first one is Micron. We're talking about Micron. The earning came out after the close today, and the option market was pricing in somewhere around a move of somewhere around $80, $85 plus or minus. So you can see if we go back on the intraday chart here, the close is 21.74. So if we put in $80 on there, that would be around 23.54 somewhere, and it got as high as 23.28. So I guess it did close on the after hour at the high of the session. So you can see that we're talking about this, and you can based on this trend line here, it's been kind of holding up at this trend line, right? And many of you that have been following me, you know that I don't trade to earnings. So even though the chart looks good, just don't want to go and hold a position to earning because anything could happen if they have a negative forward statement or something like that. Then they could easily just sell off the stock even they meet the number, exceeded the number. So that's why I usually uh, don't trade to earning. I would rather just wait after the earning come out and then go play. So anyway, we're looking at the chart here, and we're talking about it's holding up on this trend line, and you can see also the other thing is that we are looking at this pivot, breaking out of this pivot, and today during the session, it broke the trend line and getting up to this particular pivot. And right now, we're essentially looking forward to come up to this pivot. And as you can see on the after hours, kind of exceeded that right now. So we're essentially looking at this thing to go a little bit higher. And if we use a projection, I already got some Fibonacci projection here. So right now, we're essentially looking at somewhere around maybe the 141 extension here, somewhere up here near the 2580. That's basically the price target we are kind of looking at right now is maybe up at this move based on this particular swing here. It come up and tag this 618 extension and right near where this trend line support is also. So basically looking for a bound to possibly get up to this 141 extension. And the other thing that I put up before the market closed today was saying, if we want to play indirectly to the Micron's earning is one stock to look at is SanDisk. So let's go and look at SanDisk weekly here. You can see that it's also been pretty bullish, kind of trending pretty nicely up here. And even at the near term date, well, it's not necessarily year term. Near term is about almost 2 year, and it's been kind of bullish and been rising. Essentially, right now we're looking for this thing to possibly break out of this top here, this baseline. And if we essentially looking at this right here on the daily, right, this level here, earlier we could have played this. If you have this trend line here, you play this trend line and then we just play this pivot. Right, just get up to this pivot as target, and you see that it hit this, this target here, and then it came back down. So, and if we look at this trend line here, right, the near-term trend line, it seems to have found support on that. So right now, essentially, we want to see if this thing could come back up and break above this particular pivot high, which is, oops, let me, so which is, see what's that level is 70.93. So if we could break about that 70.93, then maybe we could, get to see it make to a higher level there. Once again, if we use a Fibonacci tool and draw the Fibonacci retracement, and using this particular swing here, right, and just trying to get some idea to where the potential target might be. And once again, we're going to look at the 141 extension here. Uh, 141 extension. That would be somewhere up here, which is near the 78 level. Right? So essentially, that's what we're looking for, basically based on this particular fib swing here. Right? Okay. So, and if you want to play a little bit more tightest fib, this little move here, you could. I mean, unless, if you plan to do very short-term trading, right? So, and you could do this and just kind of look at this little extension here. And then you see that it's also get down to close to that 50% retracement on this swing. So we're essentially looking maybe a possibility of targeting up here at this 72 and a half and possibly get up to this 73. Okay. So those are the couple semiconductor stock that we're kind of looking at. And then let's take a look at the let's look at the Green Mountain Coffee roaster first. Right? And yesterday we were talking about this, and let me get rid of some of these lines. And essentially we were looking at this particular trend line here, right? And also possibly, this particular break, this particular break here, and we're looking at something like, all right, if we break this particular trend line, then we could go. But I was more of a conservative on this thing here because I want to make sure that it get above this top here before, it get the trigger. And you can see that this morning, shortly after the open, it kind of hit that trigger. If we kind of zoom in on this thing here, and let me go to and explain the reason why I want to see this, right? Because you see all these candle, right? Basically being engulfed by this particular candle. Although this one particular candle here kind of penetrate to the low here, but still it closed within this boundary here. So I want to make sure if this thing going to have some conviction of moving out of this, possibly, coming down like this to get, to lessen the probability of doing this, I want to make sure that the price get above this. Right? So that's the reason why I was suggesting that we should exercise patience and wait until this price is taken out. Okay, it's not saying that it's going to do that, but basically we just need to play the game with the edge. Right? So essentially that's basically what we're looking at. And once again, we want to see and just basically playing up on these pivot level. Right? It's very simple. You don't have to make it complicated like a lot of these people, using all kinds of stuff. Just look at the close because close is what matter, right? Okay. The reason why it matters is the fund manager, based on the portfolio value, is based on the closing price, not based on intraday price, and the performance is based on the closing, the closing prices also. Right? So that's why the close is more important. Although if we are doing intraday trading, then we want to see those intraday noise to see where did it get, the buyer and the seller to come in. Right? But when we look at these target or projection, try to use the closing prices to get a better idea because I think that's make it a little bit more, to me at least, I found it to be a little bit more objective than using these intraday, and then try to be subjective about it. Because if I do this, I know I'm kind of rambling off here. You can see these pivot, you know, so you could see that you could draw these line using the closing price a little bit easier to find these pivot point, right? Because if we do this, so you can see this, these pivot point here, right? And then you can see sometime, these support and resistance level a little bit more clear if you just, plot the closing price instead of the candle or the bar chart. Okay. So the other one that I want to look at is okay. Let's go look at Morgan Stanley. I was talking about Morgan Stanley yesterday, and we're basically looking forward to break out of this, baseline here, and it seems to still kind of holding here. I'm gonna wait for a couple of days and see how it hold up. because I am seeing a little bit here on this wedge here, so it's still holding support here. And if this guy doesn't take off in the next couple of days, then I'll probably just maybe close out this position here. Okay. And then the other one that we can look at is Zynga. Right? I put out the last minute thing on Zynga, I believe, near the close in the late afternoon today. And essentially, we're looking at this particular uh, 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 trend line support here, right? Right. And then we also got this little trend line coming down, okay? And you see that it's breaking here, right? And then now getting up to this pivot, right? So we're basically trying to play a little bit of a swing back up here somewhere, and then see where that will take us. Because also on the weekly, you can see on the weekly chart here, it's kind of nice, interesting. Well, maybe I just take these line show these line and maybe it will show up. So you can see this baseline here. Right? Here's the a little bit of longer term trend line here, and here's that baseline. Nice little cup and handle. You could also say that, or just say a little bit of a wedge, and even this little bit near term. On a weekly basis, is near term. Trend line here. So it kind of broke this, went up, came back down, retraced, got a little bit of a doji hammer here, and now it's getting back up again. So essentially, that's what we want to play, is to see could it get back up above this level here, and maybe then start taking out some of the previous high, okay, or just do a little bit of a major move and see could we get it back up. So that's just a little play that you might be interested in keeping an eye on. And, and then the other one that we also mentioned was Zynga. Oh, got a lot of line here. So let me clear some of these line here. Right, we're talking about Zynga. I mean Zillow. So you can see that there's a low break here, right? And so essentially, you see these trend line, right? The pivot. Okay. So we're just coming up and play these guys. And here's this line here, the close here, right? So, and then talking about, let's see, okay, Facebook. Yeah, we also talk about Facebook. Facebook is also kind of interesting. Okay, so we got this little trend line coming up. Okay, there was these previous play that we could have done. Right, and right now we're essentially looking at this particular play here. Okay, all right, we could have gone in here. Yesterday I put out, when we saw this intraday price movement, you can see this right here, right? As soon as it starts shooting up and start running, right? Right here, that's kind of give us a little indication that hey, maybe time to go, put on a position and see could it take it back up to the previous all-time high. Right? Just on these kind of plays, sometimes you just have to go and set it up and establish your risk. Maybe down here I should stop or somewhere around here, and then just go play it. So if you got in, certainly when it got out here, I think it's a couple penny below this particular high here. Uh, Certainly, you want to take some profit when it got up today, and if it didn't, at least kind of move your stop to prevent you from incurring any loss if possible, or just a little bit of a loss. And then the other one is Twitter. We'll talk about Twitter, and if you look at the video that I put, I think sometime last week or a week ago, we're talking about a possibility, right? Okay, of coming down and test this particular level of the 60, and I was saying that it could overshoot and come down here, right? Because the other thing is that we're looking at was the possibility of this particular little bit of a bear flag, right? So kind of, trap these guys, right? So if we, you know, the other thing is, you probably have heard people talk about this H pattern, right? I'm not sure, you know, you know, right? You see, this is basically a H, right? And you can see here, it's basically a H. If we come down here, right? So this H pattern is sort of like a, the reason why we call it H pattern really is because of Fibonacci retracement of a breakdown. So let me explain that to you the way that I interpret it. Okay. So I mean, a lot of times, a lot of people put up stuff on the web, and you know, you have no idea what the heck they are talking about, right? Okay. Because they probably don't either because they don't know how to explain it. Not saying that I do, but at least I have some explanation of how I interpret it. So here's my version of the explanation. Okay, whether it's true or not, hey, that's beside the point, I guess. All right, as long as I could, you know. Anyway, here it go. All right, so you know, if I put up a Fibonacci retracement tool here, okay, to find out what is the, you know, let's see, yeah, let me do this. Okay, so here's the trace, right? The swing down here, and then come back up to this, 618 retracement point, right? And then to come back down. If it break this baseline here, then we're essentially looking at it to come down and try to hit some of these extension level, right? This is minus 121 and minus 147. I mean minus 127 and minus 141, minus 161. Right? Okay. So that's what we are talking about when we talk about the H pattern. Because if you look, right, if I do this, right, okay, right, okay, so that's basically is a H pattern, right? You know, a H. Okay. Although this got a little slope here, but if you do like this, okay. Right. Now, we like to see this right here, basically this point here, somewhere between the 50 and the 38.2, so it doesn't get so high. But this one is a little bit higher. But also the other thing to note on Twitter, that's why it is sort of in a really bearish tone right now, based on the candle pattern as well. So let me clear these lines. Okay, you see this little doji here, right? And you see the gap here. Right? Okay. See, although this candle is not, red or, it is white, because it closed above the open. But this pattern is what we call abandoned baby pattern, on a candle, which is pretty bearish in terms of price pattern in a candle of, interpretation. Not saying that, it will go down or anything like that, but it's certainly, it's just like here, we got a shooting star pattern here extensionally, right? I mean, an evening star pattern on this right here, okay? And that's a bearish pattern also. And then now we got this little retracement here on this, basically it's a bear flag, right? Okay, with this little bearish pattern. So I would definitely not going to be looking for possibility of setting up a long, until it could take this out. It could get a new high, and then I will basically go and take a look at Twitter for possible long, swing long position. But right now, if any position I'm going to take, it will basically be a short. But right now, I'm not going to take any short position. I'm gonna wait for confirmation because if this thing gonna go down, there's gonna be a lot of room for it to go down. I'm not saying that it's come back down to 40 or something, but there's a possibility, right? At least come down here or even get down to here, right? So we'll see, because you also look at this candle here, today's candle. It's basically it's a big engulfing candle of this guy here. Look at this, right? So you got all these bearish formation. You gotta have this, big red flag hanging up there to say, hey, look out. So I stay away from Twitter right now. So hopefully, that kind of give you a little bit recap of some of the stock that I've been mentioning and posting chart. So good luck to you on your trading for the rest of the week.